Hello and welcome to episode 4 of The Tee-Off, an Aussie disc golf podcast created by a bunch of frisbee tossers. My name's Paddy Robinson and I'm joined by my co-hosts Jarrath Sweetten.
What's up, Puckers?
And Andrew Ferguson.
Yo.
Now our first special guest will be chatting about his recent trip to America and all about competing in PDGA Junior Worlds, the G-Town young gun, Dylan Feldman.
How you doing?
And later in the episode, we'll also be joined by one of the greatest promoters and players of disc golf in Europe. He's a professional disc golf course designer, works with Discmania and Innova in Germany, and he's taught Simon Lizotte about everything he knows, Mr. Greg Marter. Right, we've got plenty to get through, so let's get straight into it. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I swear I play that longer every time.
Richie Hatcher. Just another shout out to Richie Hatcher.
I think he's had his fair share of
Oh, I don't care. I'm going to do it every episode.
promotion.
Yeah. So, straight into it. We're going to talk about Aussie disc golf news. The biggest tournament that has been in the last month was the Queensland Disc Golf Championships. And we're going to get Cam Ford up on the phone, and he's going to tell us a bit about it. But while we're doing that, Fergs, do you want to tell us a little about the event?
I can tell you who won. How about we start with that one?
Tell me who won.
Looks like Brian Motley has just romped home with a solid win. Yeah. Like 14 strokes. Yeah. That's no easy task. He's played some good golf there, and clearly some 1,000 rated golf as well in that first round. So, so shout outs to Brian Motley.
Yeah.
Just
annihilating the competition.
That's right. And coming in second place there, of course, talking about men's MPO, was Todd Nowak.
Yakety
Yak with a solid 10 under par.
Pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And making out the top three, the TD himself. Hey, that's not too shabby.
That's a pretty good effort.
It's the year for TDs having good performances. Aaron Morton.
Well done, Aaron.
With a solid 9 under. So there you go.
Yeah, first time he's TD'd too, so good on him. After him though was Darnley, and then Cam Ford, I think it's his first Open appearance.
Stepping it up.
Hey.
Sandbagger
Cam
no
Ford.
more.
Sandbagger no more.
Cam Ford.
And speaking of which, Cam, tell us about the Queensland Disc Golf Champs.
Hello, boys, and thank you for having me on. It's a very big privilege here down in or up in that sunny state of Queensland. The event was in Strathpine, so Pine River's the course, which is an awesome course. It was a picture perfect 2 days over that weekend, and it was a little bit cold in the morning. But we say cold in Queensland when it's still 15, 16 degrees. So
You're from Melbourne, Cam. Don't talk about being cold up there. That's ridiculous.
I'm slowly changing. So we had 2 days of really, really good disc golf. Motley obviously come out of the woodwork again and just absolutely ripped up the scene with 3 amazing scores and a good final as well. But some really good potential from some guys coming up in novice and intermediate. We even had Matt McMillan coming from I think it's Dubbo or near Dubbo. So he made a long 9-hour, I think, bus ride all the way up. So he's got some dedication there on him. And yeah, it was just a really, really good tournament. Lot of good shots. Hopefully one day you guys will come up next time and be able to play the course. It's absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's been a while since I've been there myself. I think since the Australian Championships back in, I can't even recall what year.
2000.
I wasn't even playing in that year, so I haven't started
13?
playing in that.
13.
I'm just showing my age, Cam.
I was playing advanced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow, there you go.
Yeah.
A little while ago.
So you hadn't been playing very long at all, Pat.
Nah, actually, I won advanced. I won a basket. That was cool.
That's all right.
Oh, that's a good prize.
Yeah, had to get it back on the plane though. That sucked.
I
remember that.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, a solid turnout. Like that's a 50
Yeah.
players. Is that the
Oh,
biggest?
Absolutely. It was. I think it was one of the apart from the Gold Coast Classic. Yeah, it was definitely the biggest Queensland champs we've had.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a great sign. And not a lot of people from out of state did come up. We had a few. With M Cameron and stuff coming up. But yeah, you've got the Gold Coast Classic in the next month, which is obviously a big event for everyone, and we get a lot of support from interstate. But yeah, for 50 people, mostly Queensland based, that's huge.
Yeah, that's great. I think, I know a lot of people that are looking forward to the Gold Coast Classic. That last year went really well, so
Is a little bit nicer this year than last year. Not that it was horrible, but it'd be good to have 3 days of now 3 days of sunshine. So
well, I know a lot of Victorians are keen. They're a bit sick of the cold weather down here, so I'm sure they'd like to
can't blame them.
spend a weekend away in the warmth.
And I just want to do a quick shout out just to Gavin. Just hopefully he can make it up to that open scene. He has been sandbagging for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
So
Just looking at the
if
scores
you're
right
listening,
now.
Gav, just step up. So
Is that a shout out or is that just a payout? I don't know.
however you want to take it.
Some
However you
subtle
want to
pressure.
Come on, Gav. It's
Yeah.
time. Hey, it's
I
time.
think. Considering you would have come, what, fourth?
Fourth.
Fourth.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the open divisions ratings, he has the fourth highest.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's about time,
I'm
Gav.
sure for him it's a good reason. I'm sure it is, but just putting it out there, Gav. We're here. We're waiting. I can now say that, given I'm in open for the one tournament.
Yeah. It's time, Gavin Cohen. We're calling you out. Sandbag no longer. All right, Cam.
Thank you, boys.
great to have you on, mate.
No worries. Thank you, guys, and I'll be seeing you soon. Hopefully next month.
Yeah, definitely. I've booked my flights. Woohoo!
I have it.
See you, boys. Thank you.
So yeah.
Take care.
Hi, Andrew Ferguson here from Innova Australia, the distributors of Innova Champion Discs and Discmania Golf Discs. We service customers throughout the country with the highest quality disc golf products. If you're a local club, sports store, or interested in retailing discs, please visit our website for more information on how to become an official Innova dealer. innovaaustralia.com.au.
All right. Thank you to Cam Ford there. Next up, let's chat about the Worlds. And when I say Worlds, that is the PDGA AM and Junior World Championships, which were held in Dillon. Where were they?
Davenport, Iowa.
Iowa. And there's the four cities you were saying.
4 cities,
Yep.
all along the Mississippi, were, let's see, Davenport, Bettendorf, Moline, and East Moline.
Correct.
There you go.
Excellent.
Ding!
I didn't
You
know,
win.
but-
There we go.
Well
Now
done.
spell Mississippi. No.
Yeah.
sorry.
MIS times 5.
Okay, there you go.
So yes, Dylan Feldman, who was with us today, was lucky enough to head over and compete. He was one of the 5. So we also had Bruce McNaughton, Sally Hill, Kim Holmes, and Steve Manning.
Represent. Go Aussies.
Done well. And there's a few first timers there as well. Like Dylan, that's the first time you've ever
Yeah.
travelled. Is it the first time you've travelled into national?
Yeah, first time overseas
Yeah, right.
playing disc golf.
Cool.
Yeah, good times.
Oh, nice. And just you and your old man, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Old man
just
Luke.
Me and Dad.
Yeah.
Road tripping around the States. It's pretty cool.
Did you keep him in line?
I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he a good caddy?
That Luke.
What? Oh, he saved my Firebird. So
Oh, well.
I'll count that.
Right.
He's
Very good
paid
caddy.
his fee right there, hasn't he?
So he
Jeez.
did something right.
Flat top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flat top?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, okay. Yeah. He's earned his bickies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed like they had a good time. I spoke briefly to Steve Manning, and he said it was hot as hell over
yeah.
there. So,
Mhm.
Dill, I'm sure you can tell us all about that.
Yeah, so I don't think the whole time we were over there it didn't probably get below 24 degrees. Like that was like midnight low.
Yeah.
It was probably like during the rounds like mid 30s, but 90% humidity. not this dry heat we have
icky.
over here.
Uh,
You like step outside and you practice putt and you're like, I haven't even played the round yet. What are we doing?
yeah.
Yeah,
Did it affect the way that you threw? Did you have to choose different discs, different plastics?
yeah. A lot of the discs I bought over there. I mean, because your hands get so sticky. See, grippy discs, you just didn't work unless you were really, really used to throwing them. But
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Did you have a little birdie bag or something? One of those
No.
little chalk bags? No.
no, everyone else did, but I didn't. No,
Yeah.
yeah, something for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they-
Investment. Good investment.
Yeah,
They're used to that. I don't think I can't remember the last time I was in 90% humidity.
yeah.
Ugh.
No.
You don't get that
In
down
the shower
Victoria.
this morning.
Yeah.
And that's not exaggerating. That's like weather app worthy.
Mm.
That's,
Yeah, right.
Weather
is-
app worthy.
Weather app. worthy.
Yeah.
So as much as physically that would have been quite draining, I'm sure mentally as well that would have been pretty hard to sort of play in.
Yeah, it was. I hadn't been that mentally challenged ever. I don't think,
Yeah.
especially playing disc golf. I mean, it's tough.
Mm.
And how are the courses?
Oh, the courses were pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, just the variety. I mean, like all the courses we played at during the competition were probably within 20 kilometers of each other, and the different landscapes. I mean, it was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you'd go out of town, it'd be all hilly. You come back in town, it's like dead flat.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Some nice wooded courses and
Yeah.
some open ones as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was one really, really wooded course that just killed everyone.
Yeah.
And then the rest were kind of a mix, but mostly open, which is cool.
Yep.
I can't remember.
Looked good. I did see some footage
Yeah.
and looked like a pretty fun looking course.
Yeah. A lot of
I think
natural
that's
OB.
the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
A lot
yeah.
of natural OB, as
Yep.
it's called sometimes.
Mm.
Natural. Yeah.
And it wasn't just 4 rounds. You played what it was 6
6 rounds.
6 rounds
4 days.
over 4 days. So
Yeah.
you're playing 2 rounds on one day. A couple.
Yeah, we played 2 rounds, the first day and the last day,
Yeah.
and the middle 2 days were a round of the 24-hole course at Westlake.
24 holes.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was long. Like you talk about 7-hour rounds.
a 7-hour round.
7-hour round.
Jeez.
Wow.
I don't know if I would have made it.
No,
I don't think I would have made it to the end.
I mean
I
there
don't
was
know if I
there
have
was
the
a
patience for that.
fly mart that night, and everyone was late to it, like an hour and a half late. Pretty much started an hour and a half late because everyone was late from the 7-hour round. It was crazy.
Wow.
Jeez. Sounds like
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah.
The 7-hour round.
Wow. That's
It had its drama.
I bet.
And how was the caliber of players over there?
Oh,
How does it compare to Australia?
It was intense. There was some really, really good players. I mean, I think the one thing that separates them from a lot of people here is the distance, the arm speed.
Yeah. Okay.
Dad and I came to a conclusion that it could be because of the baseball. I mean, you're playing baseball, you have a lot of arm speed. You're flinging that ball around. It generates a lot more strength in that part of your arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll grow up playing baseball.
Yeah.
Probably.
And so coming through with that arm speed, I mean, they're throwing 160 meters. It's crazy.
Damn
Yeah.
you, cricket. You'd give us nothing
Stupid.
except
arsehole.
tomahawks.
Yeah.
even that hurts still though.
Yeah.
That's probably because of my childhood.
Yeah, that's some crazy distance.
Yeah.
Mate, these kids.
Yeah.
It's scary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, one thing it does mean is that there'll be plenty of good disc golf footage on the internet for years to come.
Yes.
If
True.
the standard is that high.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
I think so. Let's all just invest in Jomez Productions now.
Yeah. And when you were there, you've seen some good players that
We-
you were competing against, but I saw a few pros that were going around
Yeah.
as well. Did
Yeah.
you meet any?
The Sunday before the tournament, so a couple of days before, we were just hanging at home, and I was flicking through Facebook as you do on a Sunday afternoon, and I saw a post, and it was Will Schustrick was doing a driving clinic, And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it said, down at Prospect Park. I looked up on the map. Yep, 2 kilometres away. And so we
Beautiful.
hopped in the car, drove down, did an hour clinic with Will Schusterick. It was pretty cool. Got a signed A2.
Nice.
Anyone knows what that is, but yeah. Similar to a harp
We
I
all-
heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we all know Will Schusterick. Yeah, it's cool. I saw a couple of photos of you with standing on the tee with Will Schusterick.
Yeah.
Speaking of arm speed, how was his arm speed?
Oh, it was, I mean, it's funny. Dad would take still shots of my action and then show me, would try to improve on it. He tried to do one of Will Schusterick, and I mean, it would take like 6 or 7 frames for my arm to get round, and his was like 1.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like back here, the next frame, it's like fully extended.
Cool.
Sorry, iPhone,
Yeah,
you're just not good
fail.
enough.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Yeah.
And did you get to meet anyone else?
Yeah.
Any other pros?
Yeah. The first round, saw Johnny McRae wandering the course.
Old,
So went over, had a chat to him. That was cool.
good old Latitude team member.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Everyone looks so much taller on YouTube though.
Really?
I
Yeah.
was taller than Will Schusterick.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he
You're
Yeah,
about the
he's-
same build as Will Schusterick.
yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the ones that's deceiving. He does look very tall on film. But
Yeah.
it's I think it's because of how skinny he is.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. In
And,
person, not so much.
And is Johnny McRae looking pretty skinny?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
more so than on camera.
There you go.
I'll say that much.
I'm sure he'd be
Camera
very,
puts on 15 pounds.
Yeah, that's what they say.
sure he'd be very happy to hear that.
And Fly Mart on the middle night of the tournament, we saw Eric Oakley at the dynamic disc stand.
Cool.
That was cool.
Cool.
Didn't get a chance to chat with him because there was like a line up to his stand.
Yep.
But it was cool.
Uh-huh.
And will you go back?
Yeah. In the next, I think I got a couple more years, probably just for to play as a junior.
Yep.
Which would be good. I think.
And you're eligible for another 2 years.
Another
Is that right?
2 years. Yeah.
Oh, solid. There you
Yeah.
go.
So I think next year they're in Emporia, Kansas,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
playing at where they played Worlds last year
Yeah.
at
There's a few courses around there. I would love to get to Emporia.
yeah.
Yeah.
We met some guys there actually that came from that area, so we could go stay with them. So we might have
Yeah.
something starting there.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And what did you place this year? And what are your kind of goals for when you go back?
This year I placed 36th out of 38. I think the one thing I learned was a lot of people would say you have to have the memory of a goldfish. So forget about your last shot. That's what I couldn't do. It would drag on. I'd have maybe like one hole where I'd get a bad roll away or a spit out or something, and I would let that drain my confidence.
Yep.
So the next 5 or 6 holes, I'd maybe lose one or two shots, just because I'd have no confidence. And then by then, that's your round gone.
Well, what they say is that's just as takes just as much practice as it does to actually play the game. Is
Yeah.
the mental side of things.
Yeah.
That's right. And I
So-
think, I think
And-
everyone listening right now is just going, yeah, and what? Like, what's
This
different?
is,
I do this every day. So
I still haven't figured that
thus
out.
is the challenge.
Yeah.
No, 35.
That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
we keep coming back.
Yeah.
That's why we keep coming back.
So you'd like to improve on that when you go back next time?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What about skills wise? Are you going to work on anything?
Skills
new
wise,
now?
I think just getting that arm speed.
Yep.
That was the main thing. I mean, my mid-range game was on the whole time. That could compare with pretty much anyone.
Good.
In my category, my putting when it was on was good, but I think just the consistency of the other players, like consistency and putting even more so than anything else really. But driving was the big thing that separated them from me.
Oh, well, there you
Oh,
go.
well, it's good that you've learned some lessons and you know where you can improve. And then if you do get to go back next time, you'll be all prepared. And,
Yeah.
you can't wait to see how you go.
Yeah, it was good.
Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Good times.
And if you go back again, are you going to take your dad?
Yeah, I
Yeah?
think so. Yeah. Well,
What
certainly,
about
certainly
your
not
mum?
mum. No, not
No?
mum. I don't think she could do it.
Dad obviously impressed on the bag, so
Yeah.
if he's going to earn a trip back, then
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dylan.
Ah, yes. And we are on the line right now live from Tasmania. We have Richard Sampson, who's going to fill us in a bit about what's going on as far as courses in Tassie, good old Poemania, and maybe a couple of newbies that are on the horizon. How you going, Rich?
Yeah, all good down here. Yep.
That's good.
It's blowing a hoolie at the moment. We've got a bit of a front coming through, straight from the Antarctic. It's all good
All
down
going
here
well.
in Tassie.
T-shirts and shorts weather, really.
Us Victorians can kind of appreciate what you're going through. Been quite blowy here this week, so
You don't mind it nice and cool with that mop you've got, Rich? That'll keep you nice and warm.
Yeah, well, it suits the climate, that's for sure.
well. How is the old Poemina going, Rich? Any new improvements or changes lately?
I mean, the latest upgrade we did was back in February, where we upgraded some of the tee pads. Anyone who's played there, will know that it's kind of brown gravel. With brown gravel, you always have an erosion issue. So it's always been a long-term goal to slowly upgrade the course to tee pads, which require less maintenance. So we came across a product called dirt glue, which basically like a glue that glues gravel together, and it's environmentally friendly, non-toxic, which is a really good thing for the course. And we've done about nine tee pads now.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And they've come up magic. Yeah, really pleased with them. It's really cost effective, and just the local players put it in.
Yeah.
Installed them. Didn't need any contractors to come in and do it.
That sounds really good. Well, I'm looking forward to getting back to down there at some stage soon.
Yeah,
and
yeah. The dirt
hanging
glue is
around.
really. It's really
sounds-
cool.
Sounds attractive. And what else is happening in Tasmania? Yeah, some whispers. There's a few other things going on.
Yeah, we've had another. There's now another course down in just about 45 minutes south of Hobart. It's on a campground, which is quite well known to Tasmanians. It's called the River's Edge Wilderness Camping Ground.
Yes.
It is in the wilderness. It's
Is it near a river?
and it's right near. It's on the edge of a river.
That was my next question, actually.
So they're not lying.
It's on the edge of a river, and it's in the wilderness.
Great name.
So
And you can camp there?
They got one of the top marketing people in Tasmania to come in and help with some branding, and that's the name that they came up with.
Well, the name
Money
says it
well
all.
spent, I say.
It's a great little spot. It probably went in about a year and a half ago. When I started talking to the guy down there, he'd basically seen it on the web. He had a bit of a golf background. He was basically looking to expand the campsite to offer more activities. He was also building a bush golf course, and I think they basically still use like golf clubs, but they use slightly bigger balls. So I don't know. If
My
he
kind of
got that one
course.
off the ground. but
Two balls?
The main thing is he did get the disc golf going, so we've got 6 disc catchers in there. It's a short pitch and putt really, but it's reasonably technical and a lot of fun. It kind of snakes through the trees that circumnavigate the campsite. There's a fantastic. Did I tell you it's right on the edge of a river? There's a beautiful river that goes down the edge, and there's a few babbling brooks. You can just keep going round and round.
Sounds great.
Actually, and I must tell you, because I don't like blowing my own trumpet, but on the first round I ever played on it after it had been installed, I got an ace.
Oh.
Christened.
And it was on hole number 5, and don't tell anyone, but I completely shanked the shot, and I don't know how it got through the trees, and it suddenly went in, and I thought, hey, that was lucky.
Oh, well, the important thing is it was you. You that got it first. That's the main thing.
the owner said to me, he said, I caught up with him after the round. He said, "What do you think of hole 5?" Like, looking at me like that is really tough. And I said, "Yeah, I got it in 1."
Piece of cake.
He goes, "You didn't."
Well
That's
done.
cool. Oh, so
So,
that's good. That's in the ground. That's 6 baskets in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really popular. I mean, it's a really popular little campground. You know, heaps of families are there. Yeah, it's just going really well. So
Good way to spread the word.
Bump into people around, and they, lots of people, locals here, grown up here. They know of the. So that's really good. The other and there's another course which will hopefully be coming in the next 6 months, which is the town of Richmond, which is about 20 minutes out of Hobart. So it's one of the most historic towns in Tasmania. It actually has. It's famous for having the oldest bridge.
I was going to say, is there going to be a basket on the bridge, Rich, or under the bridge?
It won't be on the bridge. I think the historical society would probably fry my testicles if I did that. But it's right just outside the town. Again, it's just going to be a 6-holer, 6 baskets, and it's a 12-month trial. Yeah, we're going to do our best to do the right things by it. It's a very important town for tourism. You get heaps of people coming through.
Well, that's really important.
It should get some good profile within the tourism sector.
I've been to Richmond. It's beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes.
Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah,
Have a
lots
few
of,
wine tastings and go through some frisbees. I think that sounds like a good mix.
In that order.
Yeah.
Good luck. Lucky it's only pitch and putt. Well, that's great, Rich. Good to see you putting in some hard work and getting a few extra bits and pieces in the ground for the locals to play, and it sounds like it might help you raise the profile of disc golf in Tassie, which is great. More players.
Yeah. So all good down here in Tassie.
Great to hear, Rich. Thanks for joining us on the tee off today. And if any of you out there have played Poyamina Reserve before, or any of the courses in Tassie for that matter, make sure you get along to flyspot.com.au and leave a review and rate the courses.
Rich, I come down soon, I promise.
You heard it here on the tee off. You've said it now. You've got to go, Greg.
I'm sure Richard will be happy to show you around.
Yeah, that'd be. It's one of my favourite pastimes.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks, Rich.
thanks for joining us, Rich.
Yeah, no worries. Pleasure anytime, and keep up the good work. And I'll catch eyes on you all again soon, I hope.
Beauty.
We'll do, mate. See you later.
All right, mate.
See you on the course. Bye bye.
Catch ya.
This is Matt Adams from the Melbourne Disc Golf Club. You're listening to the Tee Off.
All right, before we go any further, I would like to introduce another special guest, Mr. Greg Marter. Hello, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Welcome to the Tee Off.
Hello all. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you on.
Now, we're going to have a bit of a chat about a couple of big tournaments that have happened recently. The first one being the European Open. Fergie, what did you think?
Wow. I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. It's just very, very interesting to see an event like that, of that caliber, or see disc golf be put on a pedestal, or just put in the limelight like that. And I think it's testament to the to Jussi Maresma and his team there in Finland and in Europe. I think they're doing an amazing job. So that's what I reckon. But I mean, I'd like to hear from our special guest here, Mr. Greg Marter from Germany.
Yeah,
You're the
European
local.
Open, I played it many times. The course, the Beast, is one of the most difficult courses I've ever played on, and I must admit it was the one time the course I just had to stop playing because I ran out of discs.
Wow.
I know, yeah. The shame on me, and I learned that lesson: never carry 2 less discs in your bag because you have 30 seconds for your next throw and so on. But yeah, this year it was amazing. The weather was awesome. The audience attention gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And although we didn't had, they didn't had a live coverage from the local TV, so we still had like Avery out there showing us some parts of it live, the beginning and the ending of each round and so on. And I was so hoping for Greg that he can take it down. And I think, I don't know if it's a part of the Disc Golf World Tour that almost the last holes are coming down to a sort of showdown. And it was awesome this year, I think.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Do you reckon USC's paying him some money?
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
Keep it close, boys.
Yeah.
I'll slip a few extra bucks in your
Keep it close.
players pack. Wait till
I think,
leave all your good shots till coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to make to come back to the course. I mean, there are a couple of short holes as well, but every shot is demanding, and it's like you're so exhausted after a round of the beast, and you count your throws, and you make sure you count it 10 times. I think because you're so exhausted from the round that you want to make sure. Okay, I don't want to miscount. I don't want a penalty for miscount. My numbers are way too high anyway.
Yeah.
I went there to Nokia in 2015, and I was working at the Dude store, and I did play the course, and it was amazing to play, and I did okay, maybe. Anyway, I didn't play in the tournament, but it's probably the first tournament that I've been there and not played in and didn't care, because I saw dudes coming in like white after those last 4 or 5 holes, thinking they've had a good round, and then they just end up getting blown out, and it's rough.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a amazing showdown. The putt from Greg on the raised basket, 50 feet out. He sank it in a hyzer putt. Oh man! And then Paul just knocks it down.
Cold
Boom.
as ice. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think we were all sort of rooting for Greg, but
I think a lot of people were. Yeah.
yeah,
It's been a while since we've seen him win a big one.
yeah,
And,
and he played solid all week.
yeah. Well, he was
Yeah.
leading for most of the time, wasn't he?
98% of it.
Yeah, I don't know when someone's gone from start to finish in a long time, but he was close, one stroke.
Yeah, no, good entertaining disc golf. Good to watch anyway.
Yeah. So I saw a few stats come out. UC posted some stuff, post tournament. And yeah, one thing was the amount of spectators and stuff there. What are they doing? Are they just doing a lot of promotion to get people there? Like what are they doing different? Why are they getting such big crowds?
It's because there are so many disc golfers in Finland.
Yeah.
There are 100,000 people playing disc golf. They have 600-700 courses in every town. You have 3, maybe 4 courses playing around. So there are a lot of players. And if you think there are so many players, and that's why there are so many audience live attending.
Yes, there is a lot of people who are playing disc golf in Finland, and the sport's exploding and becoming probably on the doorsteps of being mainstream. But it's the promotion that's going on behind the scenes as well. It's like, okay, Paul Macbeth and such, they're going to be in store doing a signing of discs, and they send letters. They obviously encourage people to come along and come to the stores and take part in kind of all that theatre that goes around the event itself. And it's enticing. It's not new. It's been done, and it gets done for all these other mainstream sports, but it's obviously been done well in disc golf. So I mean, I think
they're
that's
just going that extra mile.
yeah.
And it's if we think of it, the first European Open was 2006, so it's like 11 years into highly promoting the sport for once. And in the last years, there are so many different companies. We have like not only Discmania and Innova being strong in Finland. There's Westside Discs and all other companies promoting the sport. So it's like a chain grabbing each other, and it's growing and growing and growing. And if you see it from an Australian point of view, here are a couple of online stores where you can buy discs, but you don't have a walk-in store. In Finland, you have like on every course you have a store where you can walk in and touch the plastic and buy the plastic, and so many people just buy randomly a beginner set.
That's right. And even that in itself is a promotion. and that will introduce the sport to more people. So getting those discs into stores, that's a huge thing as well.
Yeah, true.
Exactly, and then to have Jomis production on board, to have them there to film the whole thing and get it out in a reasonable amount of time. I think that was like for me. I watched it from Australia, so it was like really good to for me to have the feeling to be there as well.
Yeah. All right. The next tournament on our list was the Ledgestone Open, which is the highest, or the most money in the pro purse.
What you gonna do, Jerry? Show me the money!
And
well done.
And attracts all the big names because they all want a piece of the pie. I've watched a little bit of it, but Jazz, you've sat down, you've watched a fair bit. What
Yeah,
have you thought?
I did watch a lot. Yeah, it was good. I was actually, I will say I was quite impressed that they have improved the course again this year. I know there was a lot of negative, I don't know, a bit of negative feedback last year about the layout. There was some players that didn't want to go and play the event.
I think especially Big Germ, because he had an ace spit out and threw an 11 after that, I believe that was.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that.
Wow.
So
I
anyway,
didn't even know about that.
Yeah, there's a few people resisting. But anyway, I think they've improved the event for the better. It's sort of, you can see the improvement, I will say. And the feedback in general from the pros has been pretty positive. Like a lot of the people are complimentary of the course and that sort of thing. But there was a few negatives that come out of it on social media and that sort of thing. And let's kick it off. The baskets, the big one, the baskets.
Oh, Ricky.
And I know there's been a few other maybe podcasts and social media articles going around this past week about the baskets. So it's pretty high profile in chats. But
so what
poor
baskets
Ricky.
were they?
So of course the major sponsor of that tournament was Discraft. So they were using Discraft chain stars. Is that what they are?
Ah, okay. So they were Discraft chain stars. Okay.
Yes, which easily can be confused with the DGA Mark V.
Okay, I thought they were
similar.
Mark Vs. Okay.
DGA and Discraft are closely linked companies, and they share, disc manufacturing resources, warehousing, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, similar baskets. They're the baskets that we used at the St Jude tournament. And throughout the broadcast, Jomez broadcasting, all the broadcasting, there was a lot of conversation about how they were planning to give those baskets away to raise money for St Jude. So they were raffling those baskets off that played in the tournament. So next year they'll definitely have new baskets.
I wonder if Ricky's going to buy them all.
I
Put them in a
say
big bonfire
not.
and burn it.
Maybe we can get him on and ask him. Anyway, so that's but at least they're showing they're putting it out that they know they're not perfect and they want to improve next year, and they've also talked about T-pads that they want to improve. They were sort of they're a bit stand out in the videos, not your for such a high profile event with such a big payout, and then you're sort of letting yourself down a little bit with the inconsistency in the quality of the T-pads and some of the other facilities. But generally, like, the course looked like it played really well and tough. What did you guys think?
I thought it was really interesting just to come straight from the European Open to the Ledgestone Open, and just the contrast between the two. The caliber of playing in terms of the players were obviously amazing, but just to coming from seeing a course like the European Open, which is designed well, it looks good, T-pads, baskets, all that kind of thing, and then just seeing some T-pads which weren't really amazing, and they had you could tee off
temporary course though.
Temporary course, of course, that's fair enough. But it kind of looked like a bit of a league day.
It was a bit of
local park.
You're right, a bit of a contrast. But I feel like that they're always improving every year, so I kind of feel like that they're still taking everyone's feedback on board, and it's just going to keep getting better. So Good on
And
him.
I think that's important. Especially the baskets are not worrying me so much, although they had like a little wheel on them. You could see it
The
in
por-
the
Yeah,
The portables.
in the broadcast. Yeah, it's like a
League day.
portable.
Yeah.
It's like a portable basket in the end.
Yeah.
So if they have like a proper foot where they stand on, and like AstroTurf or whatever good tee-offs, that's what they need to improve, and then it looks like could be a good tournament. The one thing I sometimes thought when I was watching the broadcast is that the tee-off was very close to a road at some point, and I thought, like, how can people play really on the pedestrian path from a road which is not closed off? If you play on that tee-off, you have to close the road for the weekend if it's a major tournament, I think. Because, your drive can slip always, and you can always hit like a car, and it can be an accident or whatever. And it's disturbing and so on. So I worry more about the tee-offs and the roads, not so much about the baskets.
Yeah.
It seems a little different over there. That rule, I agree with you. When I was in Vancouver last year, there was a hole that literally you were teeing off next to the road, a main road.
Elizabeth Park or
Yeah, Queen Elizabeth Park. Some of the guys said the hole was designed so you throw a forehand or a big turnover right hand backhand. That was the idea. But the road curved along on that sort of angle, and you couldn't see anything. And some of the guys that I was playing with sort of laughed and said, "Hey, it's great when a bus comes along, and if it's going the direction you're throwing, because if you throw it right and you throw it behind the bus, the disc sort of catches on the wake of the air, and you'll get a 200-meter drive." I'm
Wow.
like, are you serious? And
That's
he was.
Don't worry about the 40 kids in the bus
Yeah.
trying to get home from school.
Some dudes were throwing it and having this big skip off the road, like, they're just waiting for a break in traffic. Like, right, yeah, sweet, let's go.
good old
Crazy.
Queenie.
Yeah, just crazy.
Wow. Interesting standards, people.
Yeah. It's good entertainment, though.
But it is interesting, though, isn't it? Because a lot of these courses have been installed years ago, and maybe there wasn't so much of a focus on safety and all those kinds of things. But there's people looking at these videos now, going, yeah, whatever. Like they're doing it on YouTube, so we're going to design a hole the same way, and throwing stuff over or down paths, and designing dangerous kind of courses. Maybe not permanent even, but maybe they're just like even temporary ones set up for events. Yeah, I mean, is it common sense?
Yeah.
I just
don't know.
Not so common.
Yeah.
Disc golf is still a sort of countercultural event, and you play it. It's for fun, and maybe for people who don't want the golf aspect in it, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
And then there's the other approach to make it like in the European Open, that you have like people dressed up. Everything is manicured to the highest end, which is, I think, two different sets of disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd touch on the videos. I think having the TD on for one round, or front nine maybe, or just at least one round would be okay. But
As a commentator.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to have all 4 rounds with Nate Heinold.
He's now part of the PDGA board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have, because pretty much, I mean, it's funny, you kind of listen to some of the pros commentating, and I kind of, maybe we've been spoiled by that or something, because you kind of get sucked into it, whether it's your Sexy Beast commentary or it's your Coling and Ulibarri or whatever, and it actually is quite engaging, but I just kind of felt like I was just only listening to critiques about the course
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit much.
Yeah, which
But
one round is fine, no worries.
I did enjoy it, but
Yeah.
like the very first round, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, we get to hear this perspective of the course designer and the tournament director and what he was thinking as far as organising this and this and this.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good because you don't usually get that. But
True.
then, 5 rounds later,
Yeah.
he's on every Jomez video and also on the Central Coast ones as well in the end, I think. So
Really? That was the part of the deal, maybe. I don't know.
I think so.
I think so.
but,
Yeah.
Surely.
Maybe it's a bit much.
Yeah,
Maybe
just a
next-
little bit.
Yeah.
It's actually great. I'd love to hear more TDs
Yeah.
talking about their own course. Why did they do this? Why did they
Yeah, it's
design it
interesting.
this way?
Mm.
But you kind of you maybe I'd certainly take for granted hearing like Nate Sexton commentary, which I think is really spot on and informative and
I like Colling too.
Yeah.
Listening to him.
Big germ.
he's an excellent commentator.
Really.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
I'm Alan Brunsting from Melbourne Disc Golf, and you're listening to the Tee-Off.
Oh, thanks, Al.
On you, Al.
Hey.
Lovely work, mate.
Good on you, Al. We had some people approach us during the week that questioned what people thought about pro purse payouts in tournaments that are in Australia. Men's Pro Open is really the minority, or one of the minority divisions in Australia. And a lot of people were a bit in the dark on things like this, and especially when it came into tournament directing. Because really that's what it comes down to. It's up to the tournament director to sort of decide, or they're managing all the funds. They figure out how much that the pros get paid. Yeah, a lot of people have no experience or very limited experience in tournament directing, and they approached us and said, hey, look, you guys have all run tournaments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So what are the thoughts?
Well, I was just going to briefly mention that you did say that it's the TD who decides how much they get paid and all the rest of it. It's actually, if you're running a PDGA sanctioned event, it's the PDGA which determine the payout for certain divisions. And I believe that's 125% of the in MPO division is 125%.
Suggested minimum.
Yeah, suggested minimum. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
They've got a good guide for it, I
Yep.
guess, and
Yeah.
I think we've all gone off that, at some point.
And
Yeah.
then it's divided by the top 33% or
Yeah.
something.
And you can choose the amount of people you want to pay out to, and it'll calculate that accordingly to how many positions you want to pay out to. It'll divide that money fairly based on their formula, which is suggested by the PGA. And you can also add extra into the pool, as most big tournaments do, and it will divide that accordingly. I think I encourage everyone that's going to run a open division to follow that. Like, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Like, do that. That's how we all do it, and that's how we should do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I will get on to my point is that pro open payout is not important. The number one most important thing for a tournament director is player experience. So 100% totally focused on making sure all the players have a great time, and whether that's giving them either a number of things, great players pack or a great course. Like, that's probably most important. A great course, maybe a great players pack, running side events, running social dinners and extra little events on the side. All those things add up to all the players having a great experience at a tournament. I think that's far more important than us worrying about trying to pay out, whatever. I mean, personally, if I'm traveling to play an event, I'm not traveling to win first and get the number one prize. I'm going to play the course and challenge myself and see how well I can do.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that's very similar to Germany, where Australia is right now in terms of tournaments and so on. And I even would go one step further. I would say put the staff first. See who's helping, who are the volunteers, what are they doing, and if you have a certain amount to deal with as a TD, make sure that you can either pay them a little something or give them like a nice dinner and make a nice dinner for the volunteers, that they are motivated, that they are happy to come back next year and to grow it from the inside.
Yep.
And then it will lead one day to bigger payouts for pros, but this is in this stage of disc golf far ahead.
I think absolutely. I mean, yeah, as you said, growing it from the inside and getting some solid staff and volunteers. Even if you're paying them, whatever, then just staff involved in the event. With the when we ran the Aussie Open in 2015, we didn't have a huge staff base assisting with the event. In 2017, we did have a much bigger one. I think there was probably 20 plus volunteers over the 4 days, and most of them obviously were local. Luke Turnbull flew in from the other side of the country to participate, and it not only made the event run a lot smoother, but it made the play experience, I think, a lot better as well. You know, to be able to see people around and know that they can ask them questions and someone's spotting for them and all that kind of stuff. That's what creates that kind of that player experience on the course as well.
For sure, especially even the social media coverage. We'll have people like Luke following groups around, editing and taking video on the spot, posting it to social channels straight away. I mean, that feeling in itself has value. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, except every time he filmed me, he filmed my worst holes. He never filmed any of my birdies.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
And anytime I did anything good, his phone melted down for half an hour and he had to get some ice packs. That's not his fault entirely. I would blame the weather for that.
He didn't film me at all, so what does that mean?
Come on, Luke.
Jeez, Luke.
But you're right. A lot of volunteers makes a good player experience, and that makes a good tournament. And I think not necessarily more people would sign up if there's a higher purse to win.
Exactly.
Well, like we said, the open field in Australia is the minority. One thing that I have since the question was asked, has been sort of playing on my mind a bit, and I've been thinking about it. I think maybe an idea for tournament directors in the future, like if you want to, because it's always good to get us, the Pro Opens there, because you have your final nines with the Pro Open. You see them, you see we're the best players in Australia. It's good to see the lines that we take. Maybe it could be a good idea if to attract maybe some more open players. Say, hey, look, we want to get you doing a clinic with all these new players. Like the amount of new players I saw in the Perth Open was phenomenal. So many guys who have just been playing for 6 months, and only 2 came up to me and said, hey, what are you throwing? Like, what's your go-to? How'd you get so good? Blah, blah, blah. I was kind of, and that was at the end of the tournament. And I was like, well, maybe it would have been good just beforehand to run a clinic and just, open with the knowledge that we have and the skill that we have to open it up to new players could be a good thing. And maybe TDs can try and organise that in advance and maybe say, hey, look, we'll throw you $50 or something like that. We'll try and help something, because we'd like to travel, and obviously paying for, I've been to a lot of tournaments this year, and you got to pay for accommodation and blah, blah, blah. Like,
adds up.
Yeah, it adds up. And
$50.
50. Oh,
geez, that's going to go a long way.
It's more than third place half the time. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
like these payouts aren't anything now that convince you to want to go to a tournament.
Yeah,
so it's not what we're thinking about.
No,
and even if you increase that by $100, it's still not covering travel fees, airfares, accommodation, food. Doesn't cover that. So it's not the priority.
Well, I just wanted to kind of, because I know there was a little bit of discussion in this thread about, kind of where does money go? What we're paying. Okay, so MPO, look, you'll end up paying maybe $100 to $150. The majority of that is all going to player's purse. As an AMS player, where does your money go? What is it? And people, you might have to pay your $80, and you'll probably get lunch once a day. Maybe not.
Depends. If there's 2 rounds a day, maybe you probably would.
Yep.
If it's one of these three-day tournaments where it's 1 round a day, maybe not, because it's not guaranteed that people will stick around and actually eat it if you put it on.
That's right.
So
and look, and we're talking about. I mean, I don't know. I'm just pulling numbers out. I feel like that there's sometimes like $60 for an AMS division, or like 120 for open, and then 60 or 80 for everyone else. I feel like that's about the mark.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen an AMS event where it's been $90 or $100. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but they're getting up there. I think.
They're getting up there, but either way, there's still a little bit of chit chatter about, what am I getting? What's
Where's the
what's
money go?
what's the place pack? Where does it go? You know,
Yeah.
just like compare yourself to some other sports in this country, and there you are getting so much more than other for the money that you're putting in. You're getting a lot back. Let me tell you, because you've got people dedicating a lot of time to run these events, and do promotion about it, and dedicating a lot of time, and for your $80, you know what I mean?
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I you know, for some people, I mean, go and play soccer. You know, what's that going to cost you for your?
I used to play. You sign up. It's about $360 for your membership. Then you got to pay for your kit.
Yep. Okay.
And
What's your kit worth?
That's about $150.
Okay. So that's because it's a uniform.
Yeah.
Okay. What about indoor soccer? I know you play indoor soccer.
Indoor soccer is $12 a week.
$12 a week. Okay.
And about $20 for your registration when you start.
Sounds similar to like a basketball.
Pretty well. Just one of those indoor.
$10, $15 a week, and then you pay your $100 insurance, and then registration might be the same.
And that's a weekly league, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a state A-tier tournament.
Once a month thing. It's every week.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So you're looking at $40 a month to play the sport.
The most important, I think you didn't mention is you're gonna play disc golf. You know, it's like you not play soccer or football as we call it, or basketball. You play disc golf, golf with a frisbee. Man, what greater thing you can do? And if you spend a little bit of money and then just play it, do it.
Yeah.
As often as you can.
That's right.
I know I certainly don't travel and play disc golf for money.
No.
I don't do that. I do it because I love it. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before this year's Vic Open, I was planning it 12 months prior. So organising appearances from we had Bo and the Flippin' Disc Dogs.
Yep.
Got in contact with them ahead of time. We had websites up, 6 months before. We had
awesome design, by the way. I really like it.
Thanks, Greg.
Good.
Thanks, Greg. V for victory.
Yeah.
And all that, concepting baskets, and we actually had to fundraise 6 months ahead in order to get 9 new baskets for the Geelong Club. Melbourne had to do exactly the same thing. We bought 18 new baskets prior to the Vic Open, so we had to fundraise for that. That was all part of the planning. Then we went into planning the look and feel of the tournament and where we're going to have it, working on the course, doing the caddy books and paying for those. And I mean, you just can't put a value on the hours that you spend to produce something at a quality level.
I saw you on Facebook Live packing the player packs late at night.
Oh,
I think maybe the Friday night before the players meeting.
Yeah.
You put it out there. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's like it's
a lot of work, but at the same time, we love it that much. It's fun at the same time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be putting those hours in unless I loved it.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't want to do it every couple of months.
And always remember, we are a grassroots movement. We're still grassroots. It doesn't matter how big it is. We're still like tiny.
And I'd like to believe that people they can see the effort that goes into it, and they can get a sense for like, all right, well, they've spent some time putting this together, and that maybe goes a long way to getting people to come following years and in years to come, because they know, all right, well, these guys put in a lot of effort. I'm going to support them and go along and check it out. I think it's worth going that extra mile, or at least trying to introduce something different or new every year, just to keep people coming back. And
we could talk about this all night, but I think a really good one was there was a really quite a general consensus that players' packs aren't really that desirable anymore. I don't need a T-shirt that I've got to wear. I've got a whole drawer out in the garage at the moment just filled with disc golf shirts.
I'm pretty sure Greg's got a few hundred. I think I've seen a photo of his.
Like, I love it.
Yes,
I love collecting them, but I don't wear them. But, having that stuff as an option is probably a good idea. And a few were suggesting that have a... I think Chris Ronald said in Europe they do that a bit, where they have that merch available at extra cost. And you can buy that.
Sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of people saying that, they don't really need a players pack.
Have we set
Yeah.
the bar too high? People expect a lot these
yes,
days.
massively too high, and
So,
that's I think that's globally, like there's this expectation that, and I think it just comes from the fact that the sport's free, It's generally free. It's always been free. It's in public parks. You never have to pay for anything except for discs, and when we transition into playing tournaments, there's still this kind of little hangover, in the back of people's heads, and they're thinking, they're always looking for the value, in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's healthy. I don't know if that's growing the sport in any sort of way. Like, I think that might be a reason why we've kind of been held back for the sport's been held back because there's no money in it.
I know at Vic Open we only had lunch on one day.
Lunch is an absolute gift.
Yeah.
Like that's just there's
But
no.
I will say though, if you're expecting someone to hang around all day, I believe you should at least offer, even if it is to purchase, there should be something there to offer people to eat. I mean, you can't expect them to be hanging around all day without something.
Yeah.
So
it's stuff like that. Like, maybe if you're thinking about TDing coming up, maybe don't stress about a players pack. Maybe don't stress about food. Make sure that that's known. And then you've got more money that you can put into different things. Maybe you put into prizes. And Reece Kruger's doing this for the Gold Coast Classic. Did you see the photo? He's just released prizes. He's got like 6 bags as prizes. Innova bags.
I know he had a good little haul of little gifts and prizes last year, so I'm not surprised. Yeah,
and I think
that Innova Australia, they're really helping out, aren't they?
Yeah. But it's the stuff like that. I think that TDs and tournaments haven't, and I know I certainly did it when I was TD. Like, focus a bit more on some prizes. Maybe put a little bit of effort into that and promote that.
For the Potsdam Open, talking about prizes, we're working with the insurance company right now to work out a policy for the car, actually. And have the car with a red bow wrapped up behind the hole. And apparently it is expensive to buy this policy, but not as expensive as the car, obviously.
Is that if you hit an ace on the hole, you win the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
So but things are possible.
Yeah.
You calculate a possibility with your insurance broker, and then he determines how much it is, how much you pay, and then, for example, maybe $10,000 car or a $15,000 car, like a Golf or something like something small, and then you just wrap up the Golf, and all day from your partner car dealership is standing there with his advertising. Maybe you get the car a little bit cheaper, so you don't pay so much for the
wow
thing.
Well,
there you go.
And 10,000 for a Golf. That's insane. They're about 35,000 here, aren't they? 40.
But
I'm going to wait till the disc golf comes out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Nice. Thank you.
Obviously a car is pretty awesome, but like, this is what Reece is doing, and I think that's great. Like, I think a lot of people can look at that and say, hey, I want to go win a bag, or I want to go win a basket, or I want to go...
Or go other path, like go to your bike shop, and maybe he has a bike what he would like to give out, and then somebody is going home with a bike. I know we had that in Hamburg in the 90s, that I was... Kutte won a bike in Hamburg.
Yeah, right.
You all know Kutte, I know.
Yeah.
So he took back a bike from his win in the tournament, and he years later he told me about it as well.
Yeah.
He said it was so great. He came back to his school and to his class and showed the bike, and he was so proud.
Wow.
It was like a good bike as well.
It must have been a very tall bike.
for
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Yeah. Prizes and sponsorship is probably one thing that could always be done better in our tournaments so far, and it's a task sometimes to chase.
It's knowing
and knowing what you want.
It's asking for it in the first place, because if you don't, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's asking the right people,
Yeah.
and establishing relationships as well. don't expect to walk in the door to some insurance company and say, give
me some money,
give us a car or whatever.
Yeah. Doesn't
Start
work
small.
like that.
Build that relationship up first, and offer them something, and after a couple of years, then the payoff will come.
Hi, I'm Taryn Anderson from Melbourne Disc Golf Club, and you're listening to the Tee-Off.
All right, and that brings it to a wrap. This episode, we've run out a bit of time. We were going to discuss a bit of the pros and cons of social media, but with all that TD talk, it's sort of run us over. So we might save that for the next episode. But I'd just like to say big thank you to Greg for joining us. Really appreciate your input.
Thanks, Greg. International flavour.
I will. I promise. Thanks a lot. I'm loving it down here, down under.
Thank you to Dylan Feldman for sharing his experiences of the AM Junior Worlds. Thank you to Richard Sampson and Cam Ford for joining us on the phone. Also our sponsors, Innova Australia, Disc Golf Park Australia and flyspot.com.au. And please don't forget to like, comment or share our content. If you do that, you go into the chance to win free stuff. It's as easy as that. Also, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. We love hearing from you all. And finally, I'd like to thank my co-hosts, Jarrath Sweetten and Andrew Ferguson. It's always a pleasure, boys.